What's going on, all you Halloween fanatics out there? It's Steve, aka Gordon Fester. Wow, back on a camera again. I feel a little rusty. It's been a couple of years since I've done anything on video. Last year I just got so immersed in what I was doing. I never felt like I had time to pick up the camera, set it up on a tripod, and video document what I did. A lot of what I did last year. There's a few examples behind me. We got Sid, Somber, and Rip over here. A little pumpkin back there. They're just around me, just so I can show a little bit of what I do. But we're going to do a series of video tutorials here for you on how I do things, and we're going to start off with something a little bit easier. I affectionately call them rot jars, and I kind of think of them as a combination of a witch jar and a swamp light. Okay, you can kind of picture in your mind any kind of ghoul that you want, a witch, a goblin, Bigfoot, I don't care. Taking a jar, packing some mud on it, putting some sticks together on it and some rope, and dumping it into an old swamp or an old bog or something like that, and then pulling it back out and hanging it out to dry. And that's our finished product. That's what we're going for. That's the look we're going for. Like I said, these are fairly easy. I'd say on a scale between 1 and 5, I would give this a 2. They're not really that hard. They're a little time consuming, and but the end result, if you make like 3 or 4 of these, I made 3 last year. I tried to make 4, but I just ran out of time. But I made 3 of these bigger ones. I made some smaller ones as well to go throughout the haunt, but these big ones that we're going to make today are really cool. They kind of Lord of the Ring-ish sort of things, I guess, too. I've been told that they would look cool in like a pirate scene, or maybe something like Lord of the Rings, with fairies and whatnot. But they looked really cool in my haunt too last year. So, just want to give out some value to you guys and show you my gratitude for all the wonderful things you say about my work. For you guys out there, I don't call you fans. I don't think you're fans. I just think that we all have a love for this medium when it comes to Halloween creation. Some people make different things out of paper mache, of course, but when it comes to Halloween, you really can make anything that your mind can think of out of paper mache when it comes to a Halloween project. So, let's get to it. I got everything laying out here on a table. All the supplies that you're going to need for this project, and we're just going to get to it, okay? So, hey, thanks for pressing play. I hope you enjoy this video series that I'm about to put out for y'all. All right? See you in a bit. Okay, everyone. So one of the first things that you're going to need for this project down the road is somewhere to hang this rot jar once you get the ropes on it and everything, so that you can work on the foil and the paper part of it. So I'm downstairs in my basement, so I've got a screw here and I've got a screw here. So I put the rope over around that, and then I tie the rope around that so that it hangs down and I can work on it right there. Another thing is you're going to need another kind of setup like this outside so that you can paint, because we do spray paint, and unless you're okay spray painting, you might be in your garage, or you're all right spray painting downstairs in a basement or something like that. You can do that, but you don't want to spray paint in your house. Maybe you do, but you might want to have that something similar to this setup, or somewhere where you can hang the jar outside so that you can paint. So, all right, let's get into some of the supplies. All right, let's talk about the kind of jars that you can use and what you can't use, or what I recommend not using anyway. What we're going to use for this project is actually a vase. Okay, I bought this at Walmart. I think it was $4. It could have been $3. It's $3 or $4. So probably the most expensive thing, of course, but you can use any jar that you really want. I've made probably 8 or 9 of these kind of jars, and I've used everything under the sun to make them. I've used old candle jars like this. This is another little candle jar that I've made stuff out of these, and of course like the Airwick kind of candles. You don't have to worry about all this black stuff. You really don't need to worry about this stuff either. You can boil it out if you want. You know, just put it in some boiling water and dump it in the garbage or whatever. Those work. Little jelly jars, things like that. The only thing that I recommend not using are mason jars that have the writing on them. You know, this doesn't look very witchy or very scary when you got Kerr written on there, or Mason, or whatever you might have. So I just stay away from those with the writing on them. So pretty simple. Let's talk about glue really quick. The only thing that I use is Elmer's glue. Okay, I buy it by the gallon. It's like 13 bucks. And my recipe for my glue is just 2/3 glue and 1/3 of water. So, you know, it's not like I measure out 2/3 cup of glue and 1/3 cup of water. I just kind of eyeball it. I want it a little bit thicker than milk. I don't want it to be too thin. I don't want it to be too thick either. Just kind of eyeball it, you know, just water it down and try to get another 1/3 of a bottle out of what you buy. For my container, this is the same container I've always used. I've never used anything else for my projects, but it's just a Ziploc. You know, it's got a lid on it. It's long, you know, not too wide, but it fits the paper really nicely when you put the paper in there, and doesn't get your glue all over the place. But whatever you use is fine. I'm just saying that's what I use. What you're going to need as far as paper goes for this project is just, I use Kleenex hand towels. Now, I'm not going to tell you go ahead and use paper towels or shop towels or whatever you have laying around. I'm going to tell you, if you want to do it like I do it, get some Kleenex hand towels. Okay, they're $3 a box. They used to be 60 per box. This is 55 in this one, but you know, usually you get about 60 per box. And I don't know if it was, I bought these on sale because they're the holiday ones and they just want to get rid of the holiday ones. But when you go to prep these, you can see that they have some vertical lines on it. You know, you don't want them horizontal, you want them vertical, and that's the way the paper rips in a line. You know how newspaper does that. If you tear it one way, it rips all jagged and jacked up. And if you tear it the other way, it rips as a straight line. So the vertical way is the way you want to tear those. But these are 2-ply. Okay, and you can get them started right here in the corner, and you're going to have to prep a little bit of paper for this project by doing this, but you just start off on the corner here and it just peels apart and you have 2 sheets. So like I said, you're probably just grab like 10 of these and just do that. Just go ahead and tear them right down the middle. I found, okay, that some boxes are easier than other boxes to do this with. I don't know why. Sometimes they just come right apart. Sometimes it takes a little bit. But, you know, if you don't get a full sheet from tearing them in half, it's no worries. You know, you're going to be using pieces and parts anyways. You're not going to be using a full sheet anyway. You'll just be using, you know, pieces and parts that you need to make your textures and stuff. But I recommend this. This is what I suggest you get. This is what I use, and this is what I get all my textures out of. There's no print on it. It's just a paper towel. So, okay, we got that. All right, you're gonna need a glue gun. Okay, you're gonna need some glue sticks, obviously. I would probably say you might need 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, or 9 glue sticks. So you just have a bag. All right, you're going to need obviously some paint brushes, little paintbrush, you know, to get the little things. And then I always use this paintbrush in a little bowl of water, which is what you're going to need too, is a little bowl of water. And I keep just a little bowl of water around to keep my fingers moist and keep my tools moist, so that it doesn't pull the paper off the project or anything like that. But, you know, use the tip of this to get into the crevices and things like that when we get to that part. I just use, for other painting, I just buy these cheap 2-inch chip brushes. So we got that. Have an X-Acto knife ready. Not too sure how much we'll use it, but just have one. Okay, you never know when you're going to need one. You know, let's talk paint real quick. You're going to need white spray paint. Okay, $1, Walmart black spray paint. Again, $1, Walmart, whatever you have laying around. white and black. Again, whatever you have laying around. I got a yellow and I've got an orange in spray paint. So those 4 colors in spray paint. Okay, and then when we go to paint it, you're going to need acrylics, and I just use water-based acrylics, again, at Walmart, very cheap. These are like 50 cents a tube. I think these are like $3 for the big ones. But our base coat, when we go to start painting this, is going to be black. You're going to paint the whole thing black. And then I use a melted chocolate. Okay, so melted chocolate is the color that I use. Okay, and then on top of the melted chocolate, I use a nutmeg, so it's a lighter brown. And then when I go to dry brush it, I use a beige. Okay, this is called Territorial Beige. And again, these are all at Walmart. So those are the colors of paint that you need. And I'll probably put this all on, you know, a whole list of the ingredients somewhere in this video on a title screen so that you can have that. Obviously, well, not obviously, but you're going to need some tin foil. Again, get the heavy duty Reynolds wrap. Okay, don't go for the cheap stuff. It doesn't work as well, and it just doesn't look the same, and it just doesn't work. So I always just get the good stuff. Okay, get some Reynolds wrap. If you have the cheap stuff, use the cheap stuff, but I'm just telling you, that's just what I use. So there's that. You're going to need some sticks. Okay, you know, depending on how big your jar is, of course. We've got a big jar, so I got some kind of big sticks. Okay, try to find some with some character. You know, don't break that little stick off of there. That little stick's going to give it some character. Okay, if you guys find stuff with like that, that's going to give it character. Okay, so you know, you don't want any big long branches coming off of it or anything, but try to keep some character on them. Okay, and another thing too, if they have bark on them, or if you're going to use sticks that have bark, try to get the loose bark off there, because when you go to wrap these with the rope that we got, that bark tends to come off. So either find some without bark or just take off the loose bark. Okay, if that's what you've got for sticks. And then looking around my table here, I guess the only thing we have to do is talk about rope. Now, when I was looking at this, I went and I bought this at the hardware store, and it's just you know, rope. Again, if you're using a smaller jar, you might use twine. You might use a smaller rope, but since we're using a bigger project here, we're going to use kind of a big rope. Now, I have 3 sticks, and all the jars that I made last year were 3 sticks, and I've come to the decision. I bought this rope, and this rope is, and you kind of try to look for a 3 rope. If you want to do a 4 stick jar, buy 4 rope, but this has got 4 strings in it. You know, it unweaves and it has 4 strings on it. I've never done a 4 stick jar. They've always just been 3. So I will probably just peel one of these off, you know, all the way down, and just use 3 for this project. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And you know, you're gonna, when we go to glue these onto the sticks, you know, we'll glue these so they don't fray. So, but I probably got about, you know, way more than I need. But find some rope. You can do whatever you want to this rope. If I kind of like the color of this rope, it kind of looks, but you want to kind of maybe dinge it up a little bit. Maybe just take a little black spray paint or brown spray paint or something to make it look so it's not, you know, especially those ropes that, here's a little piece that's a little bit lighter than this rope. You know, this looks too new, and you'd want to dinge that up a little bit. So that's pretty much all we're going to need for this project. You know, looking around my table here, I can't think of anything else that we need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera outside now and set it up on a table that I have set up outside. And we are going to start painting our jar, because that's the first thing you got to do. Pretty simple step, but I'll take my camera outside and we'll show you how to do that. All right? All right. Be back in a minute. Okay, we're back outside. Due to some editing error I made, I happened to delete how to paint that vase. So what I had to do is come back out, and we have to refilm this. So We're gonna just do it with this jar that I said not to use, so don't use the jar with the writing on it. But I figured out what the hell, we'll just use this because painting it is important, and I got to show you because I have a lot of questions on how I do that. So it's pretty important that I show this. So we're just gonna have to go back in and put this into the video here with some editing. But like I said, I've got my jar. I've got some white paint, some white spray paint. I've got a little bit of orange, and I've got a little bit of yellow, and then I've got some watered down brown acrylic, and it's really watered down, and all we're going to do is just muddy that jar up a little bit with that after we get done painting it. So let's grab some white here, and again, all we're looking to do is frost the inside of this glass, okay, the inside of this jar. So we're not gonna really spray paint the jar so much as just get some paint on the inside of it, if that makes sense. And all we're just gonna do is just spray it inside of there. It's cool, there's a spider web in there. And again, I'm not trying to get any drips or anything like that. We're just trying to frost the inside of this jar with this white. Very simple. Just like that. All right. And then what I do is I take a little bit of orange, and again, it's just this is a little bit more trying not to get any drips. You don't want the drips, but you just want the hue. And of course, now this orange isn't going to work for me. Great. It was working just a minute ago. Let me see if I can scrape this off before I have to go get another can of spray paint. But this isn't going to work. So I gotta go grab another spray paint. Hold on, guys, be right back. All right, guys, back again. So got a little bit more orange spray paint, and again, we're just gonna, you can hit the sides of this just a little bit. It just gives it a little orange hue to it. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, because this spray paint's not working so great either, but it has given me some orange inside of there, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right, grab a little bit of yellow, and again, just giving it some color. This one's working good. Okay, we got that. We'll let that dry for a second. All right, and then I just take a little bit of brown and I spray it in there, and then I just kind of, again, just making some color inside of there. This might even been a little thicker than I like, but again, you're just giving it some color. Okay, and that will run down, and you just pour out that little bit of paint that you have in there. And just give it a few minutes to dry, and you guys got yourself a jar. So the vase came out a lot better than this one, but you get the gist of it. All right, all right. On to the next. Back. All right, so back inside. Got my jar. Okay, it's pretty much dry. There's a little bit of wet stuff still in there, but that's fine. We're not going to worry about that all so much. Dump it out a little bit over here again, but again, we're not going to worry about what the inside looks. The more drippy, the more gooey it kind of looks, the better off you're going to be anyway. So, but there it is. You can kind of see it better inside, I think. You can see the yellows, you can see the oranges, you can see the brown in there. So, got that. I went ahead and prepped up my rope. So I took that 4th string off, and I've got it unbraided into 3 strings, and I got it kind of long, so it goes from this to this, but I'm going to wrap this rope around these sticks. So You can do it any way you want to do it. You can do it really tight all the way up and around. You can do it really, just a spiral around. You can do it any way you want to do it. I'm probably just going to do just a spiral around. I don't like to do it real tight, but it's totally up to you. However you feel like you want to do it. So I've got that. I took my sticks and I broke them off, and again, they are kind of, I'm going to use this stick, so I'm going to have it probably hugging the glass like that. So I've got a little bit over the top, well, quite a bit over the top, probably like 6 inches over the top, but it's pretty close to the bottom, okay? And again, you can do this any way you want to do it. You want them longer, have them longer. You want them shorter, have them shorter. It doesn't matter. But, I've got some pretty good character sticks that, again, are a little bit longer because the rope's going to come up and it's going to be up on the top like this. And here's my third stick, and again, it's just about the same size. You don't have to have them all the same size, but get some sticks with some character in them. So we've got those, and we're just going to set that off to the side. I just said I prepped those right now, or I just prepped those right before I hit play here, hit record. So now what we're going to do, and when this step is important, okay, what we want to try and do is take this jar, this vase, and we want to do our best to make it not look like a vase, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take some tin foil, and I'm going to build up the bottom of it. So it looks, when it's all said and done, it's going to look like it's maybe caked on mud that's on here, and it's going to be, probably, this high up on the jar here, but as it goes around the jar, it's going to get bigger and smaller and bigger and smaller. So you're going to make a tin foil base on it, and you're going to do the same thing around the top. Okay, you're going to make a tin foil base. You're going to leave the top open, but here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I just grabbed a pretty good chunk of tin foil. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it up a little bit here. I'm going to fold it again, and maybe like this again. And we're just going to kind of mold it like we would, like the jar's in there. Okay? And then just press it around the bottom of this jar the best that we can. Again, you're trying to make this jar. Okay, you see how you make it with, I mean, you can add little balls of foil. We'll add some details to this with foil, but see how I've just taken that and I've just made a little cradle for it, and it doesn't have to have any kind of rhyme or reason to it. You can flatten out the bottom you want. I like to add a point onto mine with some tin foil, so we'll make a little point here in a little bit after we get it hanging and start adding some of the details to it. So you've got it like that. Okay, I have my my glue gun here. It's all hot and ready to go. Okay, so I like, that's it. I like just the way that looks. See how it's got the characters on it like that. Okay, you don't want it to look uniform. You want it to look kind of crazy like that. Okay, got little bumps. I got little indentions. So pretty easy, right? All right, so then you just take your glue. And if you've ever used hot glue and tinfoil before, you know that hot glue and tinfoil, the tinfoil really conducts the heat, so it could get a little warm on you, so just be careful with that. But just dump some hot glue in there. Okay, you don't need a whole lot, but try and get around the edges and things like that so that it sticks. It's already getting warm, it's already starting to get hot, and just plop it in there. Okay, just kind of mold it on there. And we'll let that cool for a little bit. And there you have that, all right? So we got that. Now let's do the top. Again, we're just going to take some tin foil. This time, though, I take a little bit less, maybe. And I'm going to fold it long ways like that. Maybe once more like that. And we'll kind of make it a little crinkly like that, you know, like just, and you're going to go around the top this time, and you can make it, again, you want to try and get that jar look off of this the best that you can. And you want to make sure that the opening's big enough to where you're going to have room to put a candle in there. I'll kind of show you what I'm doing here in just a second. But again, you just have it something like that. And you can see how far I've got it up above the rim of the glass. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if you can see that. Okay, you want to create some character, and that's why I say you make your sticks a little bit longer, because it's going to be taller than what it is. And if you want some more jar, and you want some more character with that jar, that tin foil, you just push the tin foil up a little bit, or push it down and around. Just mold it the way that you want to have it. There's, like I said, no rhyme or reason. But now you've got this form that you can build onto. Okay, so you got that. Again, just take it off. And another glue stick here. Let that keep heating up a little bit. And again, just put the glue right on the tin foil here. There we go. All right, just drop that right on the top again. There you go. Just that simple, just like that. And a little groove in there, that's great. That's all character later on. That's noticeable, that people will notice when you're making that. So there's that. Pretty simple, right? Nothing to it. Okay, so I am going to take a quick break here. I'm going to dump this. I got to do short videos. My camera doesn't hold a whole lot of video, so I got to go dump this on the computer real quick. That's just the way I got to do it. And I'll be back, and we'll do the ropes and the sticks on there. All right? All right. See you in a bit.